As some of you may or may not be aware, tomorrow, I think it's the 12th of February, yes indeed, is going to be the start of the open qualifiers for Global's winter circuit. So if you're a competitive Zero player, you probably know about this, but I think for the more casual crowd, you might not be as aware. But basically, the global side of Zero has a big event circuit happening called the winter circuit, where you've been able to qualify throughout the rank seasons for God knows how many months, and now there's going to be 2 open qualifiers. I think there's 2, I'm pretty sure there's 2. There's more details on the official website, I'll put a link in the description, but tomorrow is going to be the first open qualifier, and your boy will be commentating, and I was thinking, you know, why don't we, the night before, kind of just take a look at some of the expected decks for this tournament, right? So the decks that you can expect to see a lot of, and expect to face if you're one of the players playing in this tournament too. So I think there will still be signups, of course, for the second open qualifier, where you can try to make it into the final championship, which I believe will also be streamed in March. But so today I want to just kind of sit down and talk about my expectations for the deck. So I've kind of built up some lists here, or just taken some old like JP lists. So these I might not like 100% match what you'll expect to see in the actual tournament, but the general archetypes are still matching. So obviously I'm not covering like everything possible that people might bring, but just the more common decks that I think will be there. Now, one of the very important things to keep in mind is that for this tournament, for God knows what reason, I genuinely don't know, the choice restrictions for certain decks that have choice restrictions are lifted. So Brawlers can have Rising Phoenix, I believe, and Overlord can use Grom, and duos can use the, like, their Soul Blast 2 to countercharge card as well. And so, of course, this is a very unique meta where we didn't actually, like, obviously have this in rank ladder at all. I mean, neither JP nor Global has had this, and this is a very, like, original experience. So I expect to see those decks a lot more if the people still remember, you know, how to play them, and, like, if they still feel confident in those decks after that announcement. So I think, but even without that restriction, I think Nemuel, as you can see, I literally rebuild Nemuel here. I think Nemuel is a deck that we'll see a lot of. Like, expect games, like, keep in mind the tournament is best of 1, right? Best of 1 Swiss into, I think, a top 8 or top 16 cut. I can't remember exactly what the top cut is, but, you know, this is a deck that you can definitely expect to see a lot of, purely because, you know, you can actually use this specific card as a 4-of in this deck, and thus make Nemuel easier to use by countercharging all the time, and you still have, like, now it's Nemuel with the G-Zone. I'm sure we're all very aware of why this deck is very strong, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of it. You know, let's just put it that way. I'm not going to be surprised if we see a lot of Nemuel in the actual tournament, but there's other Bermuda variants that I also expect to see, such as Mir. Like, this deck caught on quite a bit in JP, but Mir is a really powerful combo deck that, of course, can just have crazy burst potential that, you know, a lot of decks, unless they farm up the right pieces, will kind of fold to it if they allow them to get pushed to 5, and, you know, just kind of like let Mir progress with their game plan that they want to do. So definitely do watch out for Mir. I think is a deck that will sweep you if you're not aware of what it's kind of what it does. So that's one big thing for Bermuda. And of course, the Megalanica powerhouses don't end there, because of course Tavas, this is, in my opinion, still one of the like best decks to bring now, with Overlord like not fully unleashed, obviously, and like Brawlers not fully unleashed. Like, the nerfs to the grade 3s are still there, you know, needing to discard 1 to search for the Overlord, or not drawing from the Brawler Legion skill. Those are still there, but the choice restrictions being lifted will definitely make those decks more popular and stronger, which might make Tavas struggle a lot more. So while the deck initially would have been the favorite to win the tournament, I think now it might struggle a tiny bit here and there. So that's just something to keep in mind, right? That's something to watch out for. But I think Thawas is definitely a safe pick into this tournament, because it's, even with those things considered, it still has such a strong going second game plan, and Lambros just wins games, right? That's just how it is, right? So we've been talking about Kagero quite a bit, so I want to bring some attention to that. So I think this is like the Overlord build that I was rocking basically after the nerfs. Obviously this will change, where you can just play Grom at 4, right? You know, unhinged Grom is pretty good, but I do think the game has been progressing quite a bit without Overlord really getting that big support. You know, fighter section, like, some people play the ace, some people don't. You know, it's such a odd card for this deck in general, so that, you know, this list obviously will not look like this for the tournament, but I think Overlord will still be a force to be reckoned with, and games are probably going to be very long. Like, I would honestly look out for that. Like, Nemuel and Overlord combined can make games long pretty easily, and that's something you should just gotta be aware of. Like, can be playing a lot of rounds, stay well fed, drink a lot of water, you know, make sure to, like, if you finish a round early, use the break time to go to the bathroom, to get your little, like, you know, time outside and whatever you can get, because chances are if you're in it to win it, the games are going to last a while, and the tournament's probably going to last a while too, because even without those decks, games in the G era last quite a while. So that's something to keep in mind, right? Something to keep in mind. And of course, for Kagero, that's not the only build that I think will be good. Blademaster is, you know, don't mind my Blademaster list too much. I haven't really played with this in a really long time, so I think it's kind of outdated, but I think the deck definitely is, like, Blademaster as a deck is very capable, and it can use the ace. You know, I don't even have the ace in here, you know, it's terrible, this is super outdated, but, you know, I think that this deck in general can definitely show up, and there's been a lot of interesting builds on the JP side that people have been experimenting with in Blademaster in particular, and it has a good Thawas matchup as well, so could expect to see that as well. And then of course for Narukami, there's different builds for that as well. I think we will see some Vanquishers. Vanquishers have good Legion matchups, and of course there are a few prominent Legion decks such as Bermuda and Revengers and Brawlers, and so I think Vanquisher checks that quite well, and so I would expect to see quite a bit of Vanquishers just because of that. And it's also a very free-to-play friendly deck where you can actually finish it without investing too many resources, which is also very, very good. And then of course Brawlers being unhinged and being able to use Rising Phoenix, which of course you don't see in this list, but they have Rising Phoenix plus Fighters Collection came out, so that means you can also use the Big Bang Turbo Stride, so I think that will definitely shake things up a little bit in the tournament meta as well. So something to watch out for, right? Even, you know, Bermuda, where they farm a bunch of PGs and a bunch of heal guards, they might still struggle because of the fact that Brawlers just wipe out the board every single turn. Might make things a little bit tough, right? So I think those two decks can definitely be expected quite a bit. And so those are kind of like a lot of the decks that have been existing in the meta for a while. There's, you know, honorable mentions for stuff like Gears and, you know, Royals that I think they get the bonus they need in set 4 to take them higher and be on the same level, but I think until set 4 they're a little bit lacking compared to these other decks. But of course we have some of the set 3 rivals and supports that are very good. Messiahs, you know, this Messiah build is not accurate for this is a set 4 build obviously, but the high roll Messiah build, I could definitely see being there. I can definitely see people bringing Messiah or like Messiah Chaos and things like that to try to kind of like shut down some of the competition or like be that little surprise factor, or people bringing even like D-Robos, right? Or like you'll definitely run into those like off meta decks that people are just proud of, right? Like MLB and whatnot, right? And you're definitely bound to see them, but I think that Messiahs are one of those decks that you have to kind of factor in and be aware of their high roll too. And of course there's plenty of videos in the community that talk about that kind of high roll. And finally, of course, Revengers and Shadows as a whole got some good support in this set with the G-Zone, and I think the Revengers in general are in a pretty good spot in this meta. I think Revengers are definitely going to be a popular pick. They do get checked by Vanquisher a fair bit, and there's many different builds and approaches to playing the deck, but I think that's another deck that you should definitely look out for. So those are kind of like my main kind of picks for what I think will do quite well during this Zero Championship. So for the global side, of course, we have the Zero Championship Winter on the JP side next week. So of course, me and Kai will do the restreaming as usual, because I think they'll be super hyped to watch. Actually, it'll be very cool to take a look at. So hopefully we see you guys there. But of course, this event is going to be streamed as well, so you guys can check that out. I'll be leaving a link in the description when there is a link. I'm not actually sure on where it is being streamed on just yet, but once that is known, I'll definitely share the link with you guys in the description and the pinned comment. So if it's not up there at the time of this being uploaded, you can look back later on to have a look at it. So yeah, that's my short little video for today, just talking about my expectations for the Winter Circuit first qualifier here in Zero meta. And I'm pretty sure the second qualifier is also this month, so the meta won't change that greatly. But next month for the finals, again, set 4, gonna really shake things up. A lot of cool decks get, you know, brought out into the fray. Celestials, Chronojet gets a lot better, and a lot of other things are really, really exciting. So yeah, just a lot of cool things to look forward to in the competitive Zero scene as well. So yeah, that's my take for my kind of tournament expectations. Short little video today, just wanted to kind of talk about it with you guys. And of course, let me know in the comments what you think will do well in tomorrow's qualifiers. Like, are you playing yourself? What are you planning to bring? You want to keep it secret? What are you afraid of in terms of matchups? Or just in general, like, what are you expecting from this tournament, and how far do you see yourself going? So best of luck to all my viewers that are participating. Hope you do well, you know, represent the Face Gang and do amazingly. But for me, I'm gonna have fun watching everyone commentating and enjoying the action, so I hope you guys can show us some entertaining games as well. But yeah, that's basically it for me today. If you guys enjoyed today's video, check out the stuff in the description as I mentioned already throughout the video. But otherwise, that's gonna be it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.